All right, welcome back to episode 5 of Mary's Fireside Chats. Welcome. If you haven't been here before, what we discuss on this channel is spiritual insights and wisdom to help you unlock your best life. And I always want to give you things that are not only straight out of the Bible, but I want to expand on them from that personal development and just spiritual side of them, because there's not a lot of that out there. And I would know because I spent the last 7 years looking for content like this. And when I was on that journey, I had to filter out a lot of garbage about spirit guides and, just things you don't want to really get into as a Christian. But there's a lot of good stuff out there, and you just need to be able to be discerning. But my aim for this podcast is to be able to have all of that already discerned for you, to already have separated the meat from the fat, and to just give you the right stuff that you can use to improve your life. The best way to improve your life is by working on yourself, or more accurately, letting Jesus Christ work in you. And a lot of the self-help techniques that are out there, they really just stumble upon principles that are in the Bible. So today we're going to be talking about relationships, more specifically, how to love people where they're at. And a lot of us that are into self-help and just creating our best lives, we know a lot of spiritual wisdom or psychology wisdom, and we want to help the people around us. However, when we overflow someone's cup and give them more than they can currently receive, we actually do them a disservice. You don't want to overflow their vessel. We're all vessels. We're containers. In modern language, we're a cup that holds God's light, God's love. That's what we're meant to do. However, the journey in this life is to become a better, bigger vessel that can hold more of the goodness that He wants to give us. Because He wants to give us all things. But how much of that can we receive? When I'm talking to one of my kids, I have 5 kids, I try to meet them exactly where they're at. The intention is to never give the 3-year-old something that only the 12-year-old can understand. Because when you do that, they don't get anything out of it. It just whizzes by them. We have to meet people where they're at. I have a personal story. I'm a hugger. I like physical touch. My mom was always a very emotional and physical person. We got lots of hugs growing up. And so that's what I am used to, and that's how I express love. But I was at church, and there are some people there that don't like hugs. And if you go up to somebody and you notice that they don't really want a hug, they kind of like back away. If you go ahead and force the hug, you're not actually giving them a hug, you're taking a hug. And people can always sense the energy of whether you're giving or whether you're taking. So you can be giving something, but if you're doing it for your own selfish reasons, you're actually taking. If you're giving somebody a gift that is trying to push them, you're actually taking. You're doing it on some level for your own pleasure, for your own benefit, and this never actually works. This doesn't benefit anyone. It only divides relationships and pushes people away. We each have a cup, a vessel of how much we can hold in different areas of our life. You might have a cup for love, and it's only so big. If you have a cup and you want some water, and I have this giant gallon pitcher, and I come over and I start pouring into your cup, and I keep pouring the whole gallon into your cup, it's just going to overflow and make a mess. Nobody wants that. We have to be constantly discerning, how much can this person hold? How much can they handle? What is their relationship with this area of life like? And the only way we can do that to get accurate discernment is by observing the obvious. And that literally just means stop viewing things through your own perception and start viewing it through God's perception. You can literally tune into What you do is you erase, like on a magic, imagine a dry erase board. You get your eraser and you erase your own perception, and then tune in and say, hey, God, show me what's true here. And then you just look and see what you notice. You will always get accurate information on what you need to do in any given moment if you ask for it. And then this is person to person, moment to moment specific. You always have to be in touch with the Creator in order to give someone what they actually need at the moment. You can only do this if you are constantly in touch. And for me, that looks like if I'm having a conversation and I sense a little tension, continually checking in, being like, okay, God, what should I say next? What should I do next? It's this constant conversation. It's all just a relationship. And if we have that vertical relationship constantly flowing and open, our horizontal peer-to-peer relationships will flow more easily. So always be discerning at what can each person that you're talking to actually hold in their cup at this given moment. You don't want to short circuit their bulb. Every person is a light bulb that receives God's light, his energy. And everybody's rated at a different wattage. And let's say take a literal light bulb. If I take a 40 watt light bulb and I flood it with 600 watts or volts, whatever it is, I'm not an electrician, what's going to happen? It's going to short circuit that bulb. We gave it so much power and energy and light that it couldn't handle it, and it short circuited. We do this to people when we give unwanted advice, when we give them an unwanted hug, when we give them something they don't want. We're actually casting our pearls before swine. We're literally like saying, hey, here's this beautiful pearl necklace, and you put it on the ground, and then these pigs trample over it and it gets all muddy and broken. So you don't want to be giving unwanted advice, because then, as I said, you're actually taking. And this ruins relationships. And for us, more spiritually minded people that are very interested in this stuff and helping other people reach their potential, like I am, there is often the tendency to short circuit people's bulbs. So you gotta always be checking in. Hey, God, what should I say next? And everybody has a certain amount of love their light bulb can handle, and everybody has a certain amount of positivity that they can handle. There's this concept called the upper limit effect. We have a set thermostat of how much goodness and positivity we can handle. And when we trip past that thermostat, it always brings us back down into the area we're comfortable with, unless we choose to transform it. Usually when you hit up against this positivity threshold, chaos will happen. You'll have a fight or an argument, or your dishwasher will break, or your kid will have something happen at school. And if you can recognize those signs as the positivity threshold being hit, then you can say, oh, okay, what good thing is trying to come in right now? And you receive that from the Lord. Then that bumps you up and you have a new, higher threshold. And so when we short circuit someone else with giving them too much for them to handle, we actually bump them up against that limit and can bring negativity into their life before they're ready for it. Because before every great blessing, every great passing of the threshold, the test, there is a boss level. You have that test that you have to work through your stuff in order to get to the next level. And so we just need to be very cautious. Sometimes it is the right thing to say something to someone that bumps them up against them, but you need to be perceptive. If there's something that we can see in somebody else's life that they can improve, we, a lot of the times, don't need to tell them. What we need to do is pray miracles for them. Everybody else's problems are really obvious to us, right? But we all have our own blind spots. And when you can see something really obvious that someone else needs to change, you don't always need to tell them. What you do need to do is work on your own stuff and pray that God will give them the insight that they need right now at this moment. I remember a year or two ago when we were transitioning between a more corporate traditional church and the church we're in now, which is just amazingly free and focuses on one thing, which is Jesus, the way, the love, the truth, the light. When we were going through that transition, Aaron and I, my husband, we bumped up against our threshold of how much goodness and freedom in our life that we could receive, and we bumped against it hard. And we were continuously having fights and misunderstandings like we had never had before, like we rarely had before. And one day, it was getting to a tension point that was so much. I went and took a walk down the road, and I just did not know how this was going to resolve because he was not seeing something that to me was really obvious. And instead of confronting him with it anymore, I knew that it was a lost cause. I just started praying while I was walking, like, God, please resolve this. Resolve this. And I worked through anything that was coming up for me. I feel really angry. Okay, I'll let that go. Oh, I just want to hurt him. Let that go. Everything that came up, I worked through and I let go to God. By the time I got back from the walk, you know what happened? He came up to me and told me the exact solution that I had already come up with. And the problem was resolved because I decided not to beat him over the head with it. I decided to work on myself, pray miracles for him so he could see what he couldn't see, and that our tension could resolve. So here's the thing. The reason this works is when you change something inside of yourself, internal programming and beliefs and just old baggage and traumas, and when you change, the people around you have to change too, or they have to change their relationship to you. Because if you're a puzzle piece, you currently fit together with people in your life in a certain way where they lock together here. But if you lose a piece of your trauma, you don't fit together the same way. The person either has to disconnect completely, or they have to find a new way to integrate. And to do that, they have to kind of reshuffle their puzzle piece too. So when you change yourself, you change the people around you because they are forced to change in order to keep the relationship. So the advice of changing yourself is the best way to change the world is more accurate than a cliche. I like to look at ancient texts from the Bible to close us off here because the Bible talks about God overflowing our cup, that it runs over. But there's another analogy that is just as powerful and applies to this situation. Jesus spoke of being a fountain of living water, and that's just talking about life, light, love. He is the source, the wellspring, the fountain of these things. John 7, verse 38 says, "He who believes in me, as the scripture said, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water." You need to be a fountain. Be a fountain. And a good fountain doesn't splash the people around you with water. It is pretty, and it's there, and it's flowing. And if it's a drinking fountain, somebody can take their cup and dip it in and fill up whatever size cup they have from the reservoir that you hold. And you can serve more people that way. So what you're doing is you're getting the life, the love, the light from the Father, from Jesus, and you are continually cycling and recirculating that life because you're getting it from him and you're flowing it out. You're sending out positive energy, love. That's all love is. It's a positive force for good, and that returns to you. It's a cycle. And so if you are constantly connected to the vine, you will always be receiving the nutrition you need, and you will never run out, and you can feed a multitude. So be a fountain and let people fill their cup. Proverbs 18, verse 4 says, "The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook." It's refreshing. It calms, it soothes. People can wash and feel free. We never want to overflow people. We want to be a spring of living water that they can come and receive what they need. It's never forced on them. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you find this content useful, and let me know what you'd like to learn about so we can do an episode on that in the coming weeks. And appreciate all of you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Instead of judging every event in our lives as good or bad, we're invited to see things from God's perspective, where all things work together for the good. When you stop living from the